Next on 9 News, an investigation already underway in Adams County. This after a deputy shot and killed a man, with some raising questions about the deputy's response.
Insight to tragedy. We learned how officers responded on the day of the Nuggets parade as one of their own suffered serious injuries.
And tonight, the big night for Colorado Swifties. We'll take you out to Empower Field and check in ahead of Taylor Swift's first concert. 4 o'clock at 9 News starts now.
Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us. A man was shot and killed by an Adams County deputy early this morning. It all happened in the parking lot of a motel off North Federal Boulevard in Denver.
And 9 News reporter Katie Eastman shows us how the man was shot less than a minute after the deputy arrived at the scene.
The morning after a man was shot and killed by an Adams County deputy at the Lakeside Inn, people here don't want to talk. But their security cameras did capture the entire incident. There's video, no audio. Just after midnight, a black SUV pulls into the parking lot. Seconds later, an Adams County deputy pulls up. Notice no flashing lights. There was no 911 call that prompted this. The sheriff's office told us this was, quote, self-initiated activity by the deputy. When he gets out of his patrol car, he immediately pulls his gun out of his holster as he walks to the back of the SUV. This is where the sheriff's office says the deputy is trying to contact the driver, and the driver puts what looks like a gun up to his own head. Seconds later, as he backs away with the deputy's gun on him, the deputy shoots him. We are choosing not to air the moment the man is shot.
The key is with every police shooting is why.
Dr. David Thomas, a national policing expert with Florida Gulf Coast University, has 2 questions. What got the deputy to this point, and what did the deputy feel?
You go from here to here, it's just that quick. And if the person's not complying, then it is to that individual deputy or the officer what he or she feels at the time that they pull that trigger.
In the video, the deputy handcuffs the man after he shoots him. It took more than a minute and 10 seconds to start chest compressions.
He's also by himself. He called it in, but he's by himself. So that is a safety issue, and I have no problem with what he did there.
There was another person in the car with the driver who was killed. The video shows her getting out of the back seat before the deputy approaches. The sheriff's office doesn't know where she went.
Adams County Sheriff's Office is hoping to speak with that woman as a witness. As is standard with police shootings, this one will be investigated by agencies other than Adams County while the deputy goes on administrative leave.
Katie, we see so many of these videos now, whether it's dash cam, security video, or body cam video, and you just wonder about policies and how or if they're starting to change with law enforcement as to how they manage situations. It all seems to happen so fast.
Yeah, and it really helps when we are able to see what happens, because after this shooting happens, we get very little information from these agencies.
All right, Katie, thanks.
Westminster police are looking for a person who killed a woman in a drive-by shooting a little after midnight. The shooting happened outside a home just east of Stanley Lake. Police say multiple shots were fired at the home. 5 adults and 5 kids were inside. A neighbor across the street heard the shots as she was getting ready for bed.
It was awful, going to bed about 12:30. Sounded like fireworks right in my window. But it was not. It was very rapid, more rapid than fireworks. And it scared the crap out of me and my husband. It was continuous. And you stop and you think, what was that?
Westminster PD is asking anyone with information about that shooting to give them a call.
There's new insight as to what happened at the Nuggets championship parade, both before and after a Denver police officer was hit by a fire truck. 9 News journalist Aaron Adelson shares with us the concerns being expressed on communication radios from just before the point where Sergeant Justin Dodge was seriously injured.
Keep moving down, keep moving.
Go, go, go.
Tower 15, you're being requested to keep moving forward.
Those are the instructions for the fire truck carrying Nuggets players, including Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray.
Just keep moving forward.
9 News obtained emergency dispatch audio during the parade. It shows the further the truck got into the route, the harder it got to advance.
Tower 15 is still fighting crowds They're just getting ready to turn right on 14th from Broadway.
It got harder because crews removed barriers and people flooded the streets.
You just like command to Tower 15. Are you going to be able to make that turn?
We made the turn to 13th. We're heading down now.
Tower 15, command is thinking your challenge is going to be getting onto Cherokee. Sheriffs are on their way to create space for you.
6 minutes later, after expressing concerns about crowds near 13th and Cherokee, the truck notifies command. Their concerns became reality.
Command Tower 15, we have an medical emergency right now. Medical emergency, cop fell down in front of us.
It sounds like they say a cop fell, but we now know the truck hit Sergeant Justin Dodge, who recently had his leg amputated.
Command, we're going to need an ambulance. 13th and Cherokee. They're transporting in golf cart.
Even so, the truck had to go on.
Tower 15, yes, move forward. As soon as you get clearance from the police in front of you, yes, move forward.
Until it didn't.
Change your plan. Stop.
In Denver,
Stay where you're at.
Aaron Adelson,
They're going to escort everybody off the rig.
9 News.
Tough story to listen to. It is a beautiful Friday here in Colorado. Imagine what's going on this weekend. You could do almost anything in this weather, Tom.
Yeah, for the next couple nights, over 100,000 people will be at a couple of big venues.
Yes. At a couple of
Yankees and
places.
that Taylor Swift person. So
I felt like some of that traffic was happening around like noon, 1 o'clock today.
It did. It started early.
It did start early.
This is one of those nights of the year, though, where everyone turns to you, Kathy, to see what their night outside is going to feel like.
I know, I feel the pressure, but I'm up to the task, Tom.
Good.
It is important, right? Taylor Swift in town for the big concert, which will kick off around 6:30 tonight. And you maybe had noticed a little change in the weather today. It's not nearly as warm. We had a cool front come through, but sometimes that will trigger convection in the afternoon. So that's what we're watching very closely. So far, so good, but you can almost see the moisture in the air as the winds have shifted behind that front. It brought temperatures down out of the 90s into the 70s and 80s. It feels so much better out there. And the one thing that we need to watch, though, is the humidity values, which are starting to creep up. And we're starting to see a little bit of thunderstorm activity where the winds out of the east and northeast are starting to produce some storms up around Fort Collins and Cheyenne and Sterling. Right now, it's wind, it's lightning, it's rain. The activity is well north of the metro area and should stay north. The thing that we're going to want to watch this evening is any outflow boundaries from any of these storms that dive south into areas like Lincoln County or Morgan County and further south into Kit Carson County. When these thunderstorms collapse, they send those outflow boundaries out, and that's when we can see some of those storms redevelop and maybe around the metro area. Right now, it does not look like that will be the case, but Storm Prediction Center has areas just east of Denver in that marginal risk for a storm or two that could pose a problem. So between now and about 7 o'clock, I think we're looking really good in downtown Denver. Beautiful night overnight. Tomorrow, a slightly higher risk of storms, and they are getting ready. This is a live view of the Taylor Swift concert. They're setting it up at Empower Field. Everybody getting ready, and our producer's very, very excited for this show to be over so he can head out the door. And so coming up in just a few more minutes, we're going to talk about the severe weather potential for Saturday, because there's another show Saturday, and the heat is back on Monday. So lots to discuss in just a few minutes.
Thanks, Kathy. 2 people are in critical condition after a serious rollover crash involving 2 cars in Aurora. It happened at the intersection of Iliff Avenue and Sable Boulevard. Aurora police saw a pickup truck ran a red light and another car got hit. The pickup rolled several times and landed on its wheels. 7 people were in the 2 vehicles. 2 of them are in critical condition and 2 suffered minor injuries. A pedestrian was also hit in the head by the debris that flew out of the pickup truck. Police say the intersection will be shut down for a while.
Well, he was a big part of one of the biggest plays in Broncos history. Today, though, Malik Jackson said enough is enough, retiring from pro football. He was the one who scored the first touchdown in Super Bowl 50. Yeah, he came up with the ball after the Von Miller strip sack of Cam Newton. The Broncos never looked back and beat the Panthers. Malik didn't play the game at all last season after spending the first 4 of his 10 NFL seasons with the Broncos. Then there's today. Today's the day. Today finally arriving for all those fans. Day 1 of Taylor Swift's 2-night stand at Empower Field.
T-minus 2.5 hours, and it's going. The Swifties are descending on Mile High. They have been. That's where we find our own Chris Bianchi braving the crowds, and you've made a lot of new friends.
I have made a lot of new friends. I'm going to get into those and introduce a couple of those friends here in just a second. But in the meantime, over the last 2.5 hours, things have really started to fill on up here just outside of Empower Field at Mile High. What you're looking at here, that is the line for the merchandise truck. So that's just a line to get some of the gear to get into the show. Now, the gates that you're looking at over there, they open up in about 20 minutes at about 4:30 at the bottom of the hour. The show officially begins at 6:30. Taylor Swift expected to take the stage somewhere around 8 to 8:30. But with that said, you've got a whole bunch of fans and got a couple, you mentioned that I've got a couple friends here. And I'm going to actually show you a little bit of gear here in just a second I've gotten from some of my new friends. But I've got Mandy and Charisma here who are checking out the show. And Mandy and Charisma, just for a little bit, I'm going to be honest about something here. I'm not a diehard Swiftie. I know I'm going to keep my voice down when I say that, but could you explain to me why Taylor Swift is such a big deal for you?
The easiest way is to explain is that Charisma was 5 when I brought her to her first concert, which was the Taylor Swift Red concert. She is a senior this year in high school, and so I figured what better way to cap off her senior summer than go ahead and celebrating Taylor. And for my generation, it was the equivalent of like when the Jacksons came to tour back in the 80s. It's her version of the Jackson tour. So we are elated to be here, and we cannot wait to scream and dance and just enjoy the euphoria.
Oh, well, congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
This is awesome, right, for you?
Yeah, it is really exciting, especially because it was my first concert, and now I get to come back and like continue that little tradition that's happened.
Well, congratulations on being a high school senior, and by the way, for getting those tickets to the show. And by the way, I don't want to brag too much. I mentioned this, but I got from Charisma here a few of these bracelets and a few of the other Swifties. So maybe I'm going to join producer Jack and be one of those kind of diehards here and maybe try and get a ticket into the show.
Way to work it, Chris.
Now, wait. What do your bracelets say? What songs did you get?
I got, let me see, 1989.
Nice.
And again, I probably should know more about this than I do, but I'm not a diehard Taylor Swift fan. But it says just Taylor Swift, so that's probably a good starter bracelet, right?
That's like a starter.
I feel like that's like the that's like a starter. That'd be like I don't know, like a Russell Wilson jersey for a new Bronco fan or something.
That was the title of the debut album, was just Taylor Swift, so it's actually the album title. And I'm sure you gave Charisma a Crispy Donkey friendship bracelet.
They actually recognized me as Crispy Donkey, so
they did. Oh my gosh,
yeah,
that's
so
so
there's
funny.
That as well.
Crispy Donkey, live at the
true.
Swift show.
There he is.
All right, well, enjoy. I know everyone's excited down there. It's going to be a great big night for so many people. Thanks, Chris.